From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast, a Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, this is Hannah Mordeau, and this is your News 8 Daily for Friday, August 8th. It's another hot start to the day, pretty humid outside as well. We're going to be partly sunny skies to end to your Friday, and then going into the weekend in the upper 80s to low 90s. The Indianapolis Colts preseason plans are already detoured this morning because of an injury moments into their first preseason game. Sports director Anthony Calhoun was in Baltimore for last night's 24-16 loss to the Ravens. He brings us the play that could impact the team's quarterback competition.
Well, all eyes were on Colts quarterback Anthony Richardson as the Colts took on the Ravens in their first preseason game of the year. We all know the story with that quarterback situation. Anthony Richardson in a battle with Daniel Jones to see who's going to be the starter week one of the NFL season. As far as Richardson starting this game, things looked okay in that first drive, but then things started to turn in a different direction. Here's what we're talking about. It happened about 7 minutes left in the first quarter, and Richardson here takes a nasty hit. He gets sacked and did not look good at all. He immediately runs off the football field. We are told this morning from head coach Shane Steichen that he suffered a dislocated right pinky finger with that hit there and that sack from the Ravens. Now, Richardson, he tried to work his way back into this game. He was throwing some passes on the sidelines, but the team made it very clear they did not want him back into the game. Daniel Jones relieves him, but Richardson, once again here, though, gets injured. First preseason game there in the first quarter. We all know the story with Anthony Richardson. He has missed 17 games in his short career here with the Colts with injuries, and now this is the latest setback for the Colts quarterback.
He's feeling all right. You know what I mean? It's a dislocation. They pop back in. I mean, we'll see, where it goes. We had, a majority of the offensive line, not obviously Quentin and Braden and Bernie, but we had a couple guys in there that'll be playing. Felt good about AD out there. Tyler Warren was out there. So we had some guys out there. It's a five-man protection right there, and that's the hot side right there, and that's what happened.
No, I felt good, honestly. I don't know, I just felt like I was just so relaxed, I felt like I was in the moment, so that really felt good. I was able to be out there with the guys, but unfortunately I freaking got sacked and dislocated finger, but man, it just feels good just being out there with the guys, and I was having fun.
We were looking forward to, some good time, a couple drives with five, and it just got cut short, that happens in football. I hate it. I guarantee he don't hate it more than me. We just had to keep going. And, I feel like DJ kind of stepped in and did a great job.
And Colts fans, for the latest on Anthony Richardson and your football team, you got to download this All Indiana Sports app. Everything you need to know about your team is right there on the sports app. Scan that QR code right there on the screen. Download it today for the latest on the Horseshoe. Now, the Colts, they have Friday off. They'll get back to work coming up on Saturday and Sunday back there at Westfield at Grand Park. And as far as Anthony Richardson, you hear the sound there, folks. He told us after the game that he feels fine, and just by hearing him speak to the media after the game, you got to feel like he's going to try to work his way back on the field when the Colts take on the Packers coming up next week back there, Lucas Oil Stadium there in Indianapolis. On the road with your Colts, Anthony Calhoun, Wish TV and WishTV.com.
And you can get tickets to all Colts home games this season without any extra fees. The team made the announcement yesterday, but says it's a limited time offer. The sale started this morning at 10. You have until Sunday at 11:59 p.m. to get those tickets. Colts say there will be no additional fees at checkout for single game tickets and all regular season home games at Lucas Oil Stadium. Now to IT-Mate. IT-Mate confirms that Vice President JD Vance and Governor Mike Braun spoke about redrawing Indiana's congressional districts at the State House yesterday. IT-Mate's Kyla Russell spoke to Braun and demonstrators who protested before, during, and after the 40-minute meeting.
This is the only view we got of the vice president as he left his meeting with Braun and other top lawmakers. Though he didn't answer questions, I was able to ask Governor Braun what they talked about in the meeting.
Did you talk about redistricting?
We did.
In a statement after the meeting, he said they spoke about a range of issues. And during the meeting, roaring boos could be heard from the State House rotunda. That's where Democratic politicians and protesters gathered to fight against Braun and Vance's redistricting efforts, aimed at upping the number of Republican U.S. House seats from Indiana in Congress.
They gerrymandered the maps. They have 7 of the 9 congressional seats are held by Republicans. Now you have a president saying that's not enough. We want 8 out of 9, 9 out of 9. I don't know what their goal is.
One of the dangers of gerrymandering is that if the maps do not accurately represent the people in that district, then they will not be represented by their congressional representative or U.S. Senate representative, or even here in our own Indy in the State House.
Indiana's 2 Democratic U.S. House members, Frank Mervin and Andre Carson, both expressed their frustrations today.
We will not accept our state being cut and spliced and maneuvered for a wannabe king and Donald Trump.
That this battle is about their representation also. So that union member that's worried about their health care coverage, the steelworker, those teachers that are really concerned about defunding education, the community and law enforcement, my message is come fight with me to make sure that you are represented and your voice is heard in Washington, D.C.
Mervin said he would still run for a seat if redistricting impacts him. State Senator Fatty Cadora said he planned to reintroduce legislation to end gerrymandering. Now, it's unclear still what could come of that meeting, but I did reach out to Republicans that were in that meeting and others that were not. None of them wanted to go on camera with me. It's also important to note that we do know that JD Vance left this building and went to a fundraiser where he was able to raise just shy of $1 million for the Republican Party. Reporting here at the State House, I'm Kyla Russell for Wish TV and WishTV.com.
As Kyla mentioned, state Republican lawmakers did not speak to News 8. They did send us statements that do not mention a commitment to redrawing Indiana's congressional districts. An email from State Senate leader Rod Bray calls the meeting productive. He says, in part, I appreciated the opportunity to hear from the vice president on a variety of issues, which we will continue to talk through in the days ahead. Following that meeting between Vance and Braun, News 8 spoke with a Ball State political science professor about the effort to redraw the districts. He tells us while it's unprecedented, it is legal.
The timing is, so usually congressional and state legislative districts are redrawn after the census. And so the census is obvious, the 2020 census has already been done, and Indiana's already redrawn those districts, and the new ones came out for the 2022 election. So obviously we're in 2025 and we're talking about redistricting again. So it's kind of a little bit late in the process, but something that is possible.
You can see that full conversation with that professor by going to the As Seen On section of WishTV.com, where you can find this story. Texas is the current flashpoint for the redistricting debate, and one of the state's top Republicans claims the FBI is ready to help end it. Senator John Cornyn says that the director of the Bureau has agreed to help return the Democrats who have left Texas as a way to prevent votes on redistricting. Cornyn is not saying if FBI agents will actually try to arrest the lawmakers, and Director Kash Patel has not commented. President Trump has instructed the Commerce Department to start working on a new census that would exclude undocumented immigrants. It is not clear whether Trump might try to use a new census to redivide the number of congressional seats to states based on the population count. Right now, federal law allows a mid-decade census for distributing federal funding to states, but it cannot be used for determining the number of House seats that states hold. Here in Indianapolis, leaders at the Fay Bicard Glick Neighborhood Center say it's temporarily shutting its doors. Some parents on the northwest side tell us it's a major disruption. News 8's Raina Revel is on this story this morning and explains the impact, especially for kids.
That impact is specifically child care and food assistance that the Fay Bicard Glick Neighborhood Center has offered for much of its 41 years of existence. But now the organization says it will suspend all operations starting 1 week from today, August 15th, as it works to stabilize its finances. It likely means that dozens of families are now scrambling, trying to figure out how to replace essential services, including child care. We spoke to several parents who use the center for child care that they say cost as little as $25 per child each week. They tell us they aren't sure what they'll do with this closure coming on such little notice.
Yeah, it affected me a lot because it was like surprise for me. And then right now, I don't know what I can do.
Greatly, because I don't have anybody to pick my kids up after school, and school closes at 2:20, 2:30, so I gotta kind of finagle that.
Now, a spokesperson who recently began handling communications for the Glick Center sent a statement to News 8 about their closure. The statement says the board changed leadership at the center in June and cut staffing and some services back on July 21st. The statement also says a full closure is needed so the board can conduct what the spokesperson calls an intensive financial audit. Now, the center also says it will work to help find other child care options for parents, saying, quote, "We are working with local child care programs in the neighborhood and surrounding area, as well as the United Way of Greater Indianapolis and other partners who can connect families with alternative options." The statement from the center emphasized that the closure is temporary. However, they also say they do not yet have a date for the center to reopen. Reporting here in the newsroom, I'm Raina Revel for Wish TV and WishTV.com.
This morning, people in downtown Noblesville no longer have to shelter in place due to an explosion. Police say it happened yesterday afternoon at the water treatment plant next to a parking garage. Firefighters say one person was taken to a hospital as precaution. The fire department says workers were adding chemicals at the plant when there was a reaction, then the explosion. The hazardous materials team deemed the area stable. The company says water service is not affected. Now let's go to Jane King with your business headlines. She starts with big news for farmers.
Record high in the first half of this year, so this is the agriculture trade deficit. And in fact, it's attributed to limited capacity to expand crop and livestock production, a growing appetite for imported produce, and the tariffs, of course, having an effect on this as well. Now, farm trade deficits, that's where agriculture imports exceed exports, can negatively impact consumers through higher food prices, reduced choices, and potential disruptions in the food supply chain. For farmers, it can lead to decreased income. Well, President Trump wants Japan and Europe to buy more U.S.-made pickup trucks, but USA Today reports people think that the U.S. trucks are too big. Both Japan and Europe have narrower roads and tighter parking spots. Smaller, locally made U.S. cars are the ones that sell better overseas. Well, in the meantime, the USDA reminding parents how to pack safe school lunches as the school year gets underway. Food safety experts say use at least 2 cold sources like gel packs or frozen water bottles to keep meat and eggs cold, and choose an insulated lunchbox, not a paper bag, to hold the food. Well, HBO Max password sharers may soon be forced to pay up. Warner Brothers Discovery focused on password sharing as the streamer's domestic growth slows. Now, the HBO Max parent had been gently nudging people to add an account for $8 a month or get their own subscription, but this was kind of more of a suggestion. But starting in September, that is going to change. HBO Max moochers will actually start to see some more aggressive messaging telling them to pay up or else. Okay, stocks finished mixed yesterday. The new tariffs kicked in. Imports from nearly 200 countries now face duties ranging from 10 to 50%. We are looking at a higher start today. Live from the New York Stock Exchange, I'm Jane King.
Happening today at the Indiana State Fair, Bill Murray takes the free stage. He's set to play with his band, Bill Murray and his Blood Brothers, at 7:30. Another highlight, the annual Liars Contest, where people try to tell the best tall tale. That's at 6:30. Also today from the 4-H Pigs and Sheep, there are shows for gilts and ewes. This morning, a member of the American Dairy Association joined us live on Wish TV to talk about the dairy bar.
Brooke Williams is here from the American Dairy Association Indiana. She knows about this. Yeah. Tradition still sells. Do you ever figure out why that is?
Well, a couple things. I think we've been at the State Fair since 1941. So, you know, people know that we will always be there. But also we continue to have the most affordable prices. So for $5 you get a milkshake, $5 you get grilled cheese. Very important to our Indiana dairy farm families to keep the prices family friendly, but also the quality of food is going to be worth more than that.
Happening this weekend, it's the first ever Indianapolis Pizza Festival. It's on Monument Circle downtown from noon until 6 on Saturday. Festival's creator joined us live on Daybreak yesterday. He says the event will feature 30 local pizza vendors to answer who has the best pizza in Indy. People will vote One pizza place will win $5,000. The event is sold out, but he says a limited number of tickets will go on sale tomorrow. For more information on how to get those tickets, just go to wishtv.com and find this story. This has been your News 8 Daily from Wish TV. I'm Hannah Mordeau. Watch us on Wish TV and wishtv.com.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast, a Wish TV News 8 update on demand. For even more, on demand and on the go, connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening, and be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.